Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. You know, the AFC North has always been one of the most intense, physical, and unpredictable divisions in the NFL. And right now, the buzz around the league is centered on a possible blockbuster trade that could shake things up even more. Rumors are swirling that the Las Vegas Raiders, currently sitting at a dismal 2-9 record and struggling on defense, might be willing to part ways with one of their most disruptive players, Maxx Crosby. And if this trade actually happens, it could be a game-changer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are fighting tooth and nail for a playoff spot with a solid 6-5 record. Imagine a scenario where Crosby, a dominant edge rusher, joins Pittsburgh. That's the kind of move that could elevate the entire defense and really push the team over the top as we head into the final stretch of the season. But let's back up a bit and analyze what this means, not just for the Steelers, but for the entire division and NFL landscape. First, the Raiders' situation is essentially a rebuild in progress. After a rough start, they're now at 2-9, and their defense, which used to be a strength, is leaking points, conceding around 2 points per game. Their defense has struggled to generate pressure and sacks, a far cry from the teams that used to be feared under the leadership of players like Khalil Mack, whom they traded away in 2018. Now, sources indicate that they're considering moving Crosby, who's been a cornerstone of their pass rush since being drafted in 2019. Crosby, a relentless motor, has amassed a career total of 64 sacks, 250 tackles, and 15 forced fumbles. He's a player who elevates the entire defense, and his presence on the field is felt every snap, leading the league in pressures with over 450 and boasting a PFF grade around 92, which is elite. What makes Crosby even more appealing is his ability to disrupt opposing offenses, especially in critical third-down situations. His EPA per pressure stands at around 0.22, and he has an 18% win rate, showing he's consistently winning his battles at the line of scrimmage. Despite dealing with a season-altering ankle injury in Week 3, Crosby has still managed to tally 6 sacks and 33 sack yards in 2025, along with 31 solo tackles and 19 assists. His ability to generate turnovers is also a huge plus. He's got 2 forced fumbles and an interception this season, proving he's not just a sack artist but also a playmaker. If we compare him to T.J. Watt, the Steelers' own star edge rusher, Crosby's style is similar, a hurricane coming off the edge, tearing through offensive lines and creating chaos. His snap count has been around 91% for his career, showing how vital he is to the Raiders' defense. Now, why would Vegas consider trading Crosby? Well, despite his talent, the Raiders are prioritizing cap space, with about $12 million available, and they have pressing needs on their offensive line, especially with contracts like Kolton Miller's coming up. Their plan seems to be a rebuild. They're looking to move veteran players for draft picks that could land them a young quarterback or a franchise tackle. It's a cliche, but in the NFL, sometimes you have to tear it down to build it back stronger. And here, that's where it gets even more interesting for the Steelers. If Pittsburgh manages to acquire Crosby, he instantly becomes the anchor of their pass rush opposite T.J. Watt. The potential impact is enormous. Think about it with Crosby added to the mix. The Steelers' total sack number could jump from around 35 to close to 55, making their defense arguably the most fearsome in the league. His presence would also create opportunities for others, freeing up Watt and the inside rushers to get after the quarterback more often. The pressure on opposing QBs would skyrocket, and that's a recipe for wins, especially during those crucial late-season games when every sack and turnover counts. Let's dig a little deeper into the numbers here because the implications extend beyond just sacks. Crosby's ability to generate pressure leads to more turnovers and better field position. His EPA per play is impressive, and his win rate at the line of scrimmage is a game-changer. Adding Crosby doesn't just boost the pass rush, it also makes the defense more versatile. For example, against mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, Crosby's relentless rush can force hurried throws and sacks, disrupting their rhythm. When it comes to run defense, Crosby's presence can also help contain big plays, especially against power runners like Derrick Henry, who can break tackles and extend plays. In fact, his ability to disrupt the run game, stopping Henry-like rushes and improving third down stops from a 38% success rate to around 45%, could make a huge difference for the Steelers' total defensive efficiency. Now with the Steelers' current roster and their focus on maintaining a balanced attack, adding someone like Crosby would be like lighting a fuse under an already potent squad. The Steelers' defense has been solid all season, but they've lacked that extra push to consistently dominate top-tier offenses. Crosby's arrival could be that catalyst, creating mismatches and forcing teams to rethink their game plan when facing Pittsburgh. And let's not forget, the AFC North is a grind. Every game counts, and having a player who can turn the tide on a game with a single sack or forced fumble is invaluable. From a strategic standpoint, this trade could also influence how the Steelers approach the draft and free agency moving forward. With Crosby's addition, they could focus more on bolstering their offensive line or adding a young quarterback in the draft, knowing their defense is now fortified with a premier pass rusher. It also sends a message to the rest of the league that Pittsburgh is serious about competing for championships now, not just planning for the future. Looking forward, if this deal goes through and Crosby joins the Steelers, the playoff picture in the AFC could shift dramatically. The Steelers would instantly be viewed as a top contender with one of the most dangerous defenses in the league. Their chances of making a deep run, possibly even contending for a Super Bowl, would increase significantly. The odds might shift from plus 1,200 to plus 700, similar to how the Chiefs saw their odds improve after acquiring Jones in 2023. It's a move that could elevate their overall team performance and boost their chances of bringing another Lombardi trophy back to Pittsburgh. Of course, the Raiders' side of things is a different story. They're in a rebuild, and trading Crosby for draft capital makes sense from their perspective, especially if they believe they can develop young talent or land a future franchise quarterback. But for the Steelers, this isn't just about acquiring a star. It's about making a statement that they're ready to contend now, and they're willing to go all in to do it. Crosby's impact would go beyond stats. It would be a symbol of their commitment to sustained success and a reminder that Pittsburgh is still one of the toughest, most relentless teams in the league. And let's be honest, fans love a big splash during the trade deadline. It energizes the fan base, boosts morale, and sends a message to the rest of the league that the Steelers are not here just to participate. They're here to win. With Crosby on board, every game becomes even more exciting, every sack more dramatic, and every victory sweeter. It's the kind of move that could define a season and set the stage for a Steelers resurgence that could carry them deep into the playoffs and beyond. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking at the big picture, this potential trade also raises questions about the future of the division. If Crosby makes his way to Pittsburgh, the AFC North would see a shift in power, possibly turning into a division where the Steelers are not just contenders but favorites in many analysts' eyes. The Ravens have their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and a solid defense, but the addition of Crosby could tip the scales, especially with his ability to disrupt the passing game. The Bengals, with Joe Burrow and a talented roster, would need to elevate their game even further to keep up, and the Browns, always a tough out, would have to contend with an even more ferocious Steelers defense. This kind of seismic shift in the division could also impact the AFC playoff seeding. The Steelers, with a more potent pass rush and a balanced team, could secure a higher seed, giving them home field advantage in critical playoff games. This is what Steelers fans have been dreaming of, a team that's dangerous, disciplined, and capable of making a deep run. And adding Crosby could be the missing piece that turns those dreams into reality. Now, I know some of you might be skeptical about whether this trade will actually happen. The NFL is a complex league, and trades of this magnitude involve many moving parts: cap space, draft pick negotiations, player willingness, and team strategies. Still, the buzz is real, and if the Steelers or Raiders are even slightly serious about making a move, it could happen quickly once the trade deadline hits. Pittsburgh, with its rich history of aggressive moves and smart acquisitions, could be the perfect landing spot for Crosby, especially if they believe he can be the final piece to their championship puzzle. As Steelers fans, we've seen teams go all in before, and those moments often define eras. Whether it's the steel curtain of the 70s, the Super Bowl-winning squads of the 2000s, or recent playoff runs, the key has always been acquiring the right talent at the right time. Crosby might just be that piece for this current team, giving them the edge needed to finally take that next step and bring another Lombardi trophy back home to Pittsburgh. So stay tuned, folks. This story isn't over yet. If the trade goes through, it's going to be a wild ride, and the Steelers will be at the center of it. Whether or not Crosby becomes a Steeler, one thing is for sure, the AFC North is about to get a whole lot more interesting, and we as fans are in for an unforgettable season. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news.